Hey guys, welcome back to OrmsTV. Today we have the Olympus OMD E-M1 Mark II here with us. Now, this isn't going to be a review because this camera's been out for a couple of months. We've had plenty of time to play with it. You guys have seen other reviews on it. What I want to give you guys today is an impression, my feelings about this camera, and quite frankly why I think it's probably one of the best cameras in production today. So the first thing that you would want to know about this little camera is the specs. Let me give you a quick rundown. 20 megapixel micro four thirds sensor, okay? That's important to know. Micro four thirds mirrorless setup gives you this amazing small construction that you have, even though it still feels amazingly solid in your hand. The lens that I've got on here at the moment is a 12 to 40 f2.8. Now on micro four thirds, you have to apply a 2x crop to it. So what we have here is a 24 to 80 f2.8. So that's equivalent to, you know, sort of your go-to lens, your 24 to 70 2.8 on a full frame camera. And look at the size. I mean, come on. 24 to 70 2.8 in a camera that will run toe-to-toe with any pro body out there. That's pretty amazing. Okay, so we've said 20 megapixels on this unit. What else is there? 4K video, recording internally at 237 megabit per second, 422 output via the HDMI, completely uncompressed in its 4K format, absolutely gorgeous. Other things to take note of: ISO up to 25,600, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. 5-axis in-body mechanical image stabilization. So what that means is the camera actually moves the sensor around to stabilize your footage. Fantastic. Works in both video and in stills format. All in all, absolutely phenomenal. A little powerhouse that Olympus has created here. I spoke earlier about the 20 megapixel sensor. Behind that sensor sits a brand new processor from Olympus. And what it actually is this little unit runs 2 quad-core processors on the inside. One of those processors' only job is to process image data that gets captured, and the other processor only runs controls and other computational data in there. Just phenomenal throughput of information on this little unit. So let's just cut to the chase here. I've had this camera now for about 3 weeks, and geez, I absolutely love it. Flat out love this camera. And what Olympus pulled off here is just phenomenal. They have made a little technological powerhouse. The tech that's crammed into this unit puts almost every other manufacturer to shame at the moment. The way that this little thing will run off 60 frames per second, you know, when you're shooting stills in RAW is absolutely phenomenal. Yes, that is with autofocus lock. Fine, whatever. It'll do 18 frames per second with continuous autofocus tracking. That is unheard of. That beats any other camera out there at the moment, okay? Literally the things that this little unit does has made me run around the company and go, wow, and just like show people what it'll do. And I've been irritating people left, right, and center for the last 3 weeks, but that's been missing. That feeling has been missing from my life, and I know that that sounds strange. You know, I shoot with Fuji equipment, you know, you guys know that, and I love that. And those cameras give me, you know, they give me the feels. You know, when I use the Fuji and the tactile buttons and all of that, I absolutely love it. You know, I love the way it feels. This doesn't necessarily have that, but this brings a little bit of the magic back into digital photography. That sense of wonder that used to be there, where, you know, every generation of new camera brought new features and new specifications and new things that just blew your mind. And Olympus has done that. A little relatively obscure company in recent years that a couple of years ago was on the brink of bankruptcy brings out equipment like this. That gives me hope. You know, other manufacturers, you know, I don't want to say it, but, you know, absolute mediocrity that they produce year after year. And these guys come out and they push the boundaries. They push what is capable. With this little unit, I'll show you some footage just now. You're shooting 4K video, mechanical image stabilization inside the lens, inside the body. If the lens is stabilized as well, those two systems work in conjunction with each other. So I shot some footage walking in a park, and literally hand holding the camera, shooting video, following people around, creepy as that sounds, but it looks phenomenal. It looks like it was shot on a glide cam. And what more could you possibly want from a little handheld unit? It is amazing, absolutely amazing. No questions asked, mind blown. Having said all of that, like every piece of equipment out there, it has its flaws. And though I love it, have to bring these up. First things first, the menu system. Must have been designed by somebody who's never actually used a camera before. The menu system is just the most complicated thing that I've ever used. Took me 3 days to figure out how to get live exposure to display in the viewfinder. And yeah, it probably shouldn't be that complicated to figure that out. The other thing that gets to me a little bit is some of the button quality is not quite what it should be on a 25,000 Rand camera. Little buttons or dials that you think should be metal are plastic, really good quality plastics, but I would have liked to see a little bit more metal in the actual button construction over here. Then the one thing that is a bit of a downside, in terms of actual image quality that you're going to produce, stems from the fact that you have a micro four thirds sensor, and that comes down to your low light performance. ISO will go up to 25,600, but realistically, you're not going to get usable images anywhere near that. From what I find, anything over about 3,200 ISO, and it dips off really quickly. You get a lot of noise in your images, and that is, potentially a bit of a deal breaker. If you like to shoot low light, if you like to shoot high ISO, probably not the camera for you. Best to look elsewhere. Saying that, the noise that you do get is quite linear, and you don't get a lot of hot spots. It's almost like pleasing noise, but, not great, in terms of other cameras, if you're comparing to full frame cameras or even some APS-C bodies. So let's have a look at some sample images and, yeah, get a little conclusion. So 3 weeks ago, when I started using this camera and getting ready to shoot this video, I really just wanted to do an opinion piece on it. And then I started to fall in love with this camera. And it's been a really long time since that's happened. And eventually, after shooting hundreds of pictures and really getting to grips with it, it finally sort of dawned on me why that was. And you know, it's really simple. This camera speaks to the 8-year-old that lives inside of me. The same little guy who, you know, whose neck snaps backwards when a Ferrari or a McLaren drives past, and who gets really excited about, you know, obscure, nerdy little things. And this camera really, really appeals to that. It brings out everything that is good in digital photography today. It pushes the envelope. It brings new technology to the fore, technology that hopefully we're going to see other manufacturers adopt and use, hopefully better than what Olympus does. And that again spurring Olympus on to bring out a next generation of this camera that again pushes those boundaries. That really is what the industry should be at the moment. And unfortunately it's not. But it is amazing to see that there are guys out there who are still passionate and who are still pushing and bringing out new technology and cramming it into cameras and giving us the opportunity to play with those cameras. And for that, Olympus, love it. Well guys, thanks for watching this video. As always, if you enjoyed it, please don't forget to drop us a like or subscribe if you really liked it. And as always, please comment down below. We love hearing from you guys. Thank you very much.